Oh, there we go. Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Christian Homestead. My name is Jared. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. Is anyone there? I don't know if this is working.
I see it no on my screen. Okay, it's working.
There we go. Sorry. Having a few technical difficulties here. Hi everybody. Welcome to Christian Homestead. My name is Jared. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. Official Jaw the Force YT says, what a day. Yeah, I'd say. Sorry that I'm not shaven. I wasn't expecting to do a live stream today. I was making some videos that I'm scheduling out for the next few days, some good ones, and I was listening to some live news, and we have this post from President Trump on Truth Social as well as X. So let me just read it. We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, which my understanding is that's the big one. That's the one that they would have to take out to really cripple Iran's nuclear program and capabilities. The only problem up until this point is Israel has not had the ability to take it out because it requires a type of bomb, a bunker buster bomb, that only the United States has. I think the U.S. can only deliver it from either a B-2, possibly a B-52 as well, but in this case, it would definitely be a B-2. And so there's been a lot of speculation as to whether the U.S. would actually attack Iran directly, because if it did, then that would obviously be a further escalation of this war, and it looks like we're at this point, and I guess I'm surprised on the one side, but on the other side, I'm not surprised. So anyway, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. I hope so. I guess we'll have to see. The big question is, what now? You know, I was looking at this earlier today. Sorry, I'm kind of like I scrambled to put this live stream together. I want to see if we can go back to those other. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to those other posts that I reposted today on my X account. There's a lot of people that have been saying, and of course this is probably just their opinion, but a lot of people saying that if this did actually happen, what just did happen, that, you know, this could lead to World War III. And, you know, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if they're an expert. When it comes down to it, they're all educated opinions. Nobody really knows what's going to happen, I don't think. I feel like so many times in my life with so many big events, whether it's war or some other thing that's going on, you have all these people chiming in, giving their expert opinion, and I always listen to them, but it's become very clear to me that nobody really knows. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. So I was looking at this earlier today, for example. This is from, let me pull this up. This is, I don't know if you know this person or not, Douglas McGregor, U.S. Army Colonel, retired combat veteran, SecDef advisor, author, consultant, military TV analyst, chairman of advisory board at ourcountry.ourchoice.com. His opinion is more against, you know, Trump and what Trump just did, but I'm still, you know, listening to different opinions about things. Let me show you this post that I was looking at earlier today. So he says, let's be clear, Pakistan may very well turn over nuclear warheads to another Muslim country, especially Iran, under this kind of threat. Which now, since the time that this was posted, that threat level has gone way, way, way up. For many, many years, they have made it clear that they would provide the Turks nuclear warheads. What no one expects is that a Sunni Muslim country of Pakistan that has a certain amount of friction with Iran because it is a Shia Muslim state, would also do the same thing for Iran, but I suspect they will. Now, I don't know. Maybe that's just his best guess. He had something else to say. Let me find that other post. I don't know if this is true or not. Pull it up here. He also says, don't be fooled. Israel is in worse shape than people think. About a third of Tel Aviv has been damaged or destroyed. Now, I don't know about that. I mean, I guess you'd have to actually be there, but I feel with as much footage as has come through and all the reporting that's been done, that seems like an awfully high number, a third. So I don't know if I necessarily believe that. But you do want to have an advantage in war. You don't want to reveal how effective the enemy is if you don't have to, because then they may be like, okay, this isn't working, and then switch to something else. I know there's been concern about foreign journalists and others taking video of crash sites where the Iranian ballistic missiles hit, because then the Iranians can look at that footage and then they can recalibrate themselves and become more precise with their ballistic missiles. But anyway, I don't know if this is true or not. From everything that I've seen, that seems pretty high, 1/3. But okay, about 1/3 of Tel Aviv has been damaged or destroyed. As far as their military installations are concerned, I'm told many Israeli aircraft are being flown to Cyprus to avoid being struck. Israel was not prepared for Iran's response. I don't know what to say about that, but I guess it wouldn't surprise me. Um, we have seen some damage. Iran has been somewhat successful with some of its strikes, but I guess we don't know the full picture. If that's true, if they've been more successful than what we've seen, then maybe this is just going to get even worse, especially now that this just happened with the U.S. and Iran. Maybe they're going to feel even more desperation. And in a previous video, was it a video? Yeah, it wasn't a live stream. In a previous video that I made, I was talking about the flipping the board effect, where, me and my friends would always play the game of Risk. And there were so many times that one of us would get upset toward the end of the game. They felt like they were being, ganged up on too much. It was too unfair. The writing was on the wall. It was curtains. And then you just flip the board out of anger. And I don't know if that's plausible with what we're seeing here, but I try and put myself in, the other person's shoes. Like if I was the Ayatollah, if you see that your time is coming to a close, and if you want to leave a legacy, or you really do believe in destroying Israel, for example, and you know that your options are running out, you're running out of missiles. The missiles don't seem to be that effective. And then your nuclear capabilities are being taken away, and it doesn't seem like the strikes are going to let up. Your top generals are being taken out, and there has been talk of potentially taking him out. So if I was him, and you see that there's writing on the wall, then maybe he would do a last, full barrage of missiles or whatever is at his disposal. I don't know if that's realistic or not. I don't know. That's what I hate about these situations. It's hard to know what is actually true and what's going on. And of course, a lot of stuff is classified. It's meant for military war planners and heads of state and stuff like that. Let me take a look at the chat really quick. Valerie Colby says Armageddon not far off. Yeah, not after this. We'll see what happens. I mean, this seems pretty dramatic right now, but so have a lot of other things. So it's hard to say, is this going to become something much bigger? Is it going to become Armageddon? Or is it not going to be as dramatic as we thought? So, for example, when when Iran did its first direct attack on Israel back in April of last year, I was like, oh my gosh, look at all these ballistic missiles that they fired and all these drones and stuff like that. Because up until that point, nobody really knew uh, what that would look like, how that would go down. There were probably a lot of estimates, but then we actually saw what happened, and nothing really happened. And people are saying, well, they chose targets that they knew that they weren't really trying to do damage because they needed to respond to Israel and save face, but they don't actually want to escalate the war. At this point, with what we've seen over the last like week, I'm not so sure if that's true because from what I have seen, uh, they've hit some buildings. They've hit a couple things, um, but they're not doing nearly as much damage, I don't think, compared to what Israel is doing to them. Israel's like boom, boom, taking out their air defense, some of their air defense capabilities. They're taking out nuclear sites. They're taking out the TV station. That was the big news that one day is they hit that TV station that was broadcasting propaganda. Israel's like doing all this stuff, and then Iran's like, well, I'm gonna make a hole in this building. Take that. And I don't mean to minimize it. There have been a few people that have died, not very many, relatively speaking. But like, I feel like it's so disproportionate, unless we just don't know the full extent of the damage in Israel. Um, Thank you through the mist for the super chat. Do you think the saints need to do anything else to usher in the second coming based on your studies? Save me some land in the New Jerusalem. So, yeah, let's take a quick little tangent. I guess it's been a while since I've talked about this, but I have a few quotes, I think from President Joseph Fielding Smith and Elder Bruce R. McConkie, that talk about the fact that the timing of the second coming is set. Like, there's a set, appointed time when it's going to take place. So I don't think that there's anything that we can do to hurry it up or to push it out into the future. It seems like some people want to do that. They don't want the second coming to happen anytime soon. But I don't think that that's something that's going to change. But when we talk about the hastening, I think that we need to hurry and get ourselves prepared for the second coming. And the Lord is trying to get the church and the world as prepared as possible for that fixed date. So we'll see when that is. Okay, Cougar fan, hi from Wayne May Book of Mormon Conference at Maple Mountain High School in Spanish Fork, Utah. Hello. Gary Saint, back at you, fellow Viking. Okay, C342Y. They said our USA missiles came from Missouri. Yeah, would be cool if they left that hidden. Yeah, well, that's kind of a well-known fact when it comes to B2s. You have a base here in Missouri. I actually don't know the name of the base, but there's an Air Force base that is the home for a bunch of these B2 bombers. And yeah, they fly from here. It is really interesting. It's going to become even more interesting if what happened today as a result of those B2s leads to World War III, Armageddon, the final war, the siege on Jerusalem. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, Caitlin's here. I feel like it's been forever. Well, it's been a while since I've really done very many live streams. Hi, Caitlin. This is Caitlin from Anticipating Christ's Return. Make sure to subscribe to her. She also does Second Coming content. We're probably going to do an interview pretty soon, within the next couple weeks. Borky Baby says Edmonds. Yeah, that's right. Edmonds Air Force Base in Missouri. Let me, what? I'm going to double check. Let's see. Edmonds Air Force Base. Let me see. Where are the B2s stationed? Oh, Whiteman. Is it Whiteman or Whitman? It's White. Well, it's WHITE, man, Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. According to their official website, it says Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri is the only operational base for the B-2. There you go. It's the only one. I feel like I knew that a long time ago, but... Okay. I'm going to go back to X. I'm going to see if there's anything else that I reposted that I want to share. This is from earlier today. The IDF. Over the past week, the Iranian regime has been relentless in its mission to destroy the state of Israel. Here are the numbers. According to them, 950 plus missiles and UAVs, or the drones, have been fired at Israel. And it really doesn't seem like... I feel like if I had invested in all those ballistic missiles, I would want a lot more for what I paid for them. I'd be very, very disappointed in what they've actually achieved by firing those ballistic missiles, because it doesn't seem like it's been a lot. Okay, and then also, let's see, about 8,000 civilians evacuated from their homes. $2,040 incidents related to buildings. So I don't know what that means. Maybe it ranges everything from, the missiles making holes in the buildings to just causing structural damage or something like that. 5,629 incidents related to cars and other property. I'm sure that includes like shrapnel and things like that. But from what I've seen, there hasn't been anything like really too dramatic when it comes to Iran's attack on Israel that I've seen. Give me a minute while I look for some more stuff. If you're just joining, let me read this again. So there was this post from President Trump. This is the big news right now. He says, "We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this." Is that actually true? Is it only the United States that has that bomb? Or are there others? Does Russia have bunker busters? If you know, put it in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this after the fact. Continuing, there's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, I don't know. The big question now is what happens next? How is Iran going to respond? How's the world going to respond? I know that there's been talk and speculation about both sides running out of missiles. Israel running out of its interceptor missiles, and then Iran running out of its ballistic missiles. I've seen different numbers for that, but at some point they're going to run out, and then what happens? Do they get resupplied by somebody, or are they just going to is everything going to grind to a halt? Let's see. This is from World Source News 24/7. They reposted something from, it looks like an IRGC account. Now war has begun for us. Oh, now war has begun for you? Okay. We'll see what happens, I guess. Breaks news. Israel says it was in full coordination with the U.S. on Iran attack. The Senate Armed Services Committee chairman says Trump acted deliberately to eliminate the existential threat from Iran's regime. It's so surreal for me right now because, like I said in that other video, this has been in the background my entire life. I was born in the 80s, and there's always been talk about Iran, and I've always wondered, what this scenario would look like when things came to a head. I was shocked last year when Iran attacked Israel for the first time, like its first direct attack, not through its proxies. That was when things started getting really real for me. But with what happened today and what's been happening over the last week, I still felt like that was like implausible, just sometime far in the future, maybe. Um, it's just, I guess it's surreal. Here's another report from UKR Report. Breaking: Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, the war has begun. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's the thing that I don't really understand. So, we know that their ballistic missiles aren't very effective. They have done damage, but they're not that effective. Their drones, from what I can tell, are almost completely ineffective. I haven't seen any story that has said that any drone has caused any damage in Israel. Not that I've seen. Uh, so what are you gonna do? Um, Earlier, if you missed it, I read a thing where somebody was speculating that Pakistan could give Iran a nuclear warhead. I kind of feel like that wouldn't happen. That just seems unrealistic. But and then if they were wanting to like invade Israel, I don't know if that's even a possibility. I don't know if they have the capabilities to have to bring troops into Israel. They'd have to, go by land. And let me look at the map here. Let's look at the map. Give me just 1 second to pull it up. Okay. Here's Iran. Um, if they wanted to get troops to Israel, they would have to, either, I guess, go through Iraq or up here through Turkey and Syria and Jordan and possibly Lebanon. I feel like that'd be tricky for them to negotiate. If they were going to come by sea, first of all, I don't think that they have much of a navy, but they'd have to sail all the way through here, the Persian Gulf and over here, Indian Ocean, Gulf of Aden, Red Sea, and then finally, uh, if they get through the Suez Canal, come into the Mediterranean. So I don't think that that's an option. I guess I'm just trying to figure out what could possibly happen at this point. I feel like the only thing that they could do, like the worst case scenario, would be flipping the board, firing all their missiles, everything that they got, firing at Israel, maybe attacking American bases that are within striking distance. Uh, Aside from that, what else? I feel like the only other thing that could happen is if some other country joined in. I don't think that Russia would, but that guy that I was reading from earlier, he has like a long video that's posted on his account. This is Douglas McGregor. Again, he is a U.S. Army colonel, retired combat veteran, SecDef advisor, and a bunch of other stuff. He was saying that Russia could be in a position to help Iran, like with like resupplying it, uh, possibly uh, giving Iran arms or whatever, and possibly China too. So maybe that would happen. But it's hard for me to see a situation where any of these powers would invade Israel. And I'm talking about invading Israel because this is the Second Coming channel. We're all expecting the Battle of Armageddon and the Siege of Jerusalem, which would obviously have to take place within the borders of Israel. The thing that I'm looking at more closely and Israel 365 did an article about this, is that you have groups that have been planning to do another October 7th style attack. Hezbollah was trying to do that, but it seems that their attempts were thwarted. But the more recent article by Israel 365, he was talking about groups in the West Bank that were wanting to do that, and I feel like that's pretty plausible. If I were to guess and speculate at this point, I would say that Gog and Magog would be this Iranian alliance, or Iran and its proxies. You know, the Houthis in Yemen, the militias in Syria and Iraq, and then all the different groups operating in Lebanon, Gaza Strip, and West Bank. That's my best guess, and I'm okay if that's wrong, but I feel like if it was going to happen right now, anytime soon, that would probably be the most likely way that it would happen. It wouldn't require an Iranian invasion, Russian invasion, Egyptian invasion. Uh, they're already there. You have the Arabs and the Palestinians and everybody already there. You have Hezbollah. There's been I've seen some stories about Hezbollah, how they may, you know, I mean, they're already warring with Israel, but I think it's been kind of like, it hasn't been too intense lately. But things with Hezbollah may pick up now at this point. Maybe they will successfully do some kind of like ground offensive into Israel. Don't know. Let's see. Borky Baby. Biggest thing is, why is China flying huge cargo jets into Iran under radar and then leaving? Could they have been delivering the jet fuel for more sophisticated bombs they have? Oh, yeah, I saw reports of that. Yeah, yeah, it could be. The Haystack says, I was in person with our senator today, and he said Trump would not stop the threat completely without sending people in. No country would dare send Iran anything now. Borky Baby, 15 minutes time, the president will address the nation regarding the situation. Okay, so I'm probably going to wrap this up in just a few minutes. I just wanted to put this on your radar. You probably would have got it from somewhere else, but I just wanted to share my thoughts and some of the things that I've observed. Let me check a few more things. Put in the chat. Let me know at this point. Okay, so I've already done this kind of poll before, and if I'd have to go back and see, but I think the majority of my audience that responded to the poll said that the war that was started October 7th, they did feel like this is the final war. So let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this afterwards, put it in the comments. Do you think that this is the final war? Is this what it looks like? And of course, it seems like more would have to develop, but man, it seems like things can happen pretty quickly. I was taken aback, surprised when Israel started attacking Iran and bombing. I just one day, that was our reality, is that was happening. Let me know in the chat and in the comments if you think that this is the final war, if it's leading up to those final battles. I will say this, it just keeps escalating. And this is something that I've been talking about since probably the beginning of the war. Since October 7th, it just seemed like every single month there was some new escalation that threatened a wider war. A lot of people are just repeating the same stuff. Full coordination between the U.S. and Israel in regards to this attack. This is from Yoav Gallant, the defense minister. I think he's still the defense minister. Man, I've been so out of touch with this whole thing. President Trump took a bold decision for the United States, for Israel, for all of humanity. The world is now a safer place. That's yet to be seen. Yoav Gallant. No, he's the former Minister of Defense. Mara Nafal says U.S. dropped 30 plus tons of explosives on Iran. According to sources, 2 bombs hit entrances to the Fordow facility. There are reports of strikes on Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan nuclear sites. Okay. Um, there's obviously been talk and speculation about World War III. This really probably is the closest that we've been to World War III. Um, it's a complicated situation. Uh, this may go. I mean, can you really say when it started? I mean, you could say maybe it started September 11th, 2001. Maybe you could say it started with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's a complicated world. There's a lot of moving pieces. I'm not going to get into my theories that I've shared before, but this falls in line with something that seems to have started with 2001. Um, Basically, all these Islamic countries that have had revolutions and civil wars and um, anyway, there's this whole thing that was talked about all the way back in like 2001, and this general that was talking about it, this was published in a Salon article. He was talking about the fact that there was this plan to basically reshape the Middle East through various methods. We had the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan around 2012. I think it was 2012. That's when you had the Arab Spring, and a lot of stuff came out of that. In fact, technically the Syrian civil war is still going on. Uh, and then, according to him, he said that the last thing that they wanted to take care of was Iran. Now, I don't know if that was a real plan, but it's kind of seeming that way. I kind of felt like there was always something to that. Let's see. Do you guys think that the world is now a safer place because of what just happened? El Paculi says now is the time. Papa Cryptos says no, Phil, it's not the final war. Nathan Hatch, it may be the final war, but I'm not sure. I hope I have filled my oil up. Yeah, when we're seeing things like this, whether it's the final war or not, I think you can safely say that these are signs of the times at the very least. And yeah, it'd probably be a good idea to make sure you have extra oil. I would encourage you to do that. I would encourage you to get a temple recommend. Do all the things that you know you need to do. If you've been dragging your feet on getting the Melchizedek priesthood, getting sealed, we don't need to. I'm not trying to be an alarmist. We shouldn't do that, but I feel like the Lord has been very kind in giving us many, many, many signs of the time so that we can know that the time is near. David Pearsly says, I have just had a strange feeling all day that something was going on. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a quiet day up until now. Um, Iran had gone a full 24 hours without attacking Israel. And I guess I figured that was probably because, you know, maybe too many of their missile launchers have been destroyed, or the missiles themselves. Maybe they're regrouping and trying to recalculate things. But for whatever reason, there's been over 24 hours with no missile attacks, and then this happened. So everything was quiet, and then this happened. Kosjagen Ataji, I think it's just the beginning of the final war. Okay. Well, I don't know. We should definitely keep a close eye on this. Maybe things will just not be as dramatic as we think, even though it seems pretty dramatic in the moment. Maybe this is all going to peter out. Sometimes that happens, or maybe we're on the brink of World War III. So let's just keep a close eye on it. But that's all that I have for you this time. So thanks for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure to like this. It pushes it out to more people. Make sure to share it. If you're watching this after the fact, make sure to leave your comments in the comment section. And I'll talk to you guys later.